please state your name and affiliation before you ask questions today? Thanks.
Caleb Turner, KSL.com. I guess not ideal for this to even go to penalties in the first place. What did you feel like maybe contributed to lack of being able to finish this off in the 90 minutes?
Yeah, well, one, we're playing against a good team. Two, we're just not. We're creating some really good opportunities, and whether it's their goalkeeper or just lack of execution in front of goal, I think is what's costing us. You know, there's a couple really clear opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net, and we're just not getting that. We're not making that final play, and when you can't do that, it's difficult to win games, and it's obviously going to go to PKs.
Zach McMath did just about as much as he could be asked to do in a game like this, 7 saves and then another one in the PK shootout. What did you see from him tonight to give you guys a chance to at least keep that 0?
Yeah, no, Zach played like the Zach I know. He kept us in the game, man. He stood on his head back there for us, and that's what's disappointing, right? Because you have such a fantastic performance to keep it 0s. And we just need to make plays, man. We need to make plays. Like you can't tactic your way into the back of the net. It's impossible to do, right? You got to make plays, and we haven't been getting that. And we'll have to look at the game and figure out a way, to be more threatening in front of goal.
Amy Donaldson from KSL. I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about where the team was at, because it was frustrating not to be able to finish or find the goal in some of those really good chances. What did you say to them before the shootout? So where was their, do you worry about the frustration level, and then where do you go?
No, I don't think they're frustrated from that. I think their mindsets quickly go to PKs. It's not, oh, poor me, we didn't win the game in regular time. It's who's willing to step up and take a PK. So we had a list and talked to the guys, and all the guys that stepped up were guys that wanted to take the PKs as well. So it was aligned, and it's just a crappy way to lose in soccer, really. After such a again, I thought it was a good performance. I thought we did a lot of good things, and goals change games, and we played these guys not too long ago. And it was kind of the same thing where we create some chances, but if you don't put it in the back of the net, they're happy with that and they want to go to PK. So again, we'll go back to the drawing board and just figure out ways to get guys in dangerous areas, and hopefully this weekend we'll get a goal that changes the landscape of the game.
Is there anything? Are you worried about going on the road? Is there more freedom going on the road? Like, or is there?
No. It doesn't matter. I think we're a good road team. I think we're a good home team. It's not anything as dramatic as just you got to finish your chances, and that's whether you're home or away. You're gonna have to do the same thing.
Can I just ask one more question? What did you mean by you can't out tactic to get it in the back of the net? Like what is that?
You can't run a play on a whiteboard to kick the ball in the goal.
Gotcha. Okay.
Players need to make plays, and they just got to make plays.
Okay.
David James is next.
David James, KTV 97.5 The Zone. Can you talk about the backline's performance, especially Brown, who was playing out of position, and Emeka Nelly for a while as well?
Yeah, no, I thought I think the guys in the back did a fantastic job. They really did. And Javane has been a bright spot back there. I think his aggressiveness, his ability to compete for balls in the air, his passing tonight was really good. Again, you couldn't ask anything more from the back line. And the guys in the middle did a really good job. And it's always difficult to break down a back five as committed as they were tonight. But having said that, I still think that we did enough to find the back of the net.
I'm curious, at halftime, what was your assessment of the first half? Did you think the guys were brave enough with the ball, or was there too much switching sides? Would you have liked to see more chances taken going forward with 25, 30-yard balls if necessary?
Yeah, no, I think that's been our issue as of late is predictability in the box and getting Chicho in the box, Crooksy, Diego, So that was what we talked about at halftime, is our 10s coming closer together centrally. So if Alex or Dominic have the ball and they're isolated, we know that we can put the ball in because we'll have numbers in there. And then it asks questions of their pivots. Do they drop deeper? Now we can find our pivots at the top of the box, and now we can shoot from distance. I don't know how much those things manifested themselves, but it's been a theme, I think, where we got a lot of players on the front line that want to get on the ball, but we're not doing it in dangerous areas, or we're not making plays from that. And so, again, we got a couple days, and again, just to reinforce, like, if we want to score goals, we need numbers in the box. We need to be more brave. We got to shoot from outside, because possession's great, but for me, it's what are you doing with that possession that matters.
Will the return of Brian Vera and his big left foot make a difference in taking those shots from 25
Yeah,
yards?
no, it may, and also serving half space crosses in from the left side. But again, I think we have to have those players in those areas to make it worthwhile. Because if Brian Vera looks up and doesn't see 2 or 3 players in the box, then more than likely we're going to rotate it.
Do you expect Minnesota to play the 5-4-1 they played in these last 2 games at home?
Yeah, especially now that you would think that if we won tonight, they'd probably have to come out and really chase the game in Minnesota. Now they can kind of sit back and kind of do their thing. So I'd anticipate them playing very similar to the way they played tonight.
Hey, Coach. Matty Casey, Royal Riot Podcast, ABC4 Utah. What were you hoping to unlock with the substitution, bringing Brody in so you could push Emeka up next to Brian?
Yeah, so the idea was, one, Brody is a natural right back or left back, and getting him the ball in the space between their left forward and their wing back. But I thought we were a bit too slow with our movement across the back line at times, and we weren't able to find them in advantageous positions to really attack centrally. And then Emeka is what he did when he went in there, which is getting the ball and driving the space and finding teammates. I think it really opened up a different look for us when Emeka went in there. So, and I'm thinking about the second half, and there's so many plays where the guys broke plays up, and we were attacking with numbers, and it just seemed to fizzle out at times. So, but I think Emeka did a really good job on the right and in the middle of midfield.
And can we get an injury update on Luna? It looked like he was grabbing at his groin right before he had that lung-busting run.
Yeah, Luna was cramping up as well. I think his calf was going as well. So I don't have any updates on that. But there was a couple guys that were they put it all out there tonight, and that's what from my chair is. You could talk about the execution, but the effort was fantastic. And on any other night, we finish those chances and win the game.
Thank you.
Brant Goebel, Random Fan Podcast. What are your thoughts on Dominic Marksuk and how he is rounding into form and filling in that space left from the loss of Andres Gomez?
Yeah, no, I think he's done a fantastic job. He's a young player that's living out of the country for the first time. His how quick he's adapted to our league, to our team, has been really, really good. And for me, he's a top player at a young age, and has, I think, a fantastic future ahead of him. But I think both with the ball and against the ball, I think he's been a top player for us.
You seem to be right there, tight with Minnesota. The two teams ended up tied after 3 games, going to penalty kicks tonight. What's your approach going into the next game? Is it more pressure, or how do you approach a game like this?
Yeah,
game like this?
I think it's often in football. There's always 2 teams, right? So for as much as we want to do what we want to do, there's always an opponent that's thwarting what we want to do, and defensively they're solid. I think they've given up 3 goals in the last 8 games. I mean, so they're a tough team to break down. I think we have to be a little bit more disciplined on our front line to occupy spaces that we think we can hurt them with, and we got to finish our chances. There's really no other way to think. I mean, we've gone against back fives all year long, but this particular group they're steely and determined in what they do. And I'm thinking about the chance in the first half. I think Luna had, and the goalkeeper comes up trumps. I mean, they're making plays. right? They're making plays on the defensive end. And so we made a lot of plays on our defensive end tonight, Zach in particular, and now we just got to flip the field around and start making plays in the attacking half.
Anybody else in English for Pablo? All right, well, go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, just one. Pablo, Aaron Bolton, Southern Communities. Zach hasn't had, maybe a perfect year. He said up and down. I guess, how have you managed that relationship to get this kind of a performance out of him?
Yeah,
when it
it's been
matters?
tough. We just call it real talk in the locker room, and kind of explaining that there's so many factors that go into decision making, and obviously we have a really talented young goalkeeper in Gavin, and wanted to get him some reps, but again, took him out to dinner and explained to him and really connect with a human being. I think as a coach, these are decisions that don't only affect the player and the team, but it affects his livelihood as well. And I think it's really important to connect on a human level, to let him know that even though you're going to be out for a set amount of games, you have to be ready. And I can't speak highly enough about his preparedness after 5 or 6 games not being in there, to come in and then stand on his head like he did tonight. He's got it in him. I've been with Zach since I was in Colorado with him for a couple of years. He's a very talented goalkeeper, and I think tonight he showed his class.
Willie?
Willy Barreta, Alfa Media, La Grande, Latino. Pablo, ¿cómo afrontar el partido que viene psicológicamente con tus jugadores y qué es lo que crees que falló en este partido?
Sorry, can I translate that?
Yeah, sorry.
How are you going forward mentally for the next game coming up?
Yeah, para mí, sí, preparar para este partido como preparamos para todos los partidos que jugamos. O sea, siempre hay un plan, siempre hay que elegir los jugadores, pero la mentalidad, queremos controlar el partido siempre con el balón y sin el balón. Yo creo que donde fallamos este partido, no pudimos hacer el último pase, el último tiro al arco, no defendieron muy bien el otro equipo. Y como digo, en el fútbol no puede usar táctica para entrar en el arco. Alguien tiene que sacar un tiro al arco bueno, hacer una jugada, una combinación, algo para meterlo, porque este grupo que estamos enfrentando son muy buen parados, armados defensivamente. Y yo creo que también mantienen una línea alta y tenemos que penetrar a veces con pelota más larga. Y a veces queremos meter 10 pases cuando toma uno, pero también necesitamos los movimientos de arriba también. O sea, para mí la solución es en la parte ofensiva. Tenemos que encontrar el mecanismo para llegar más al arco, y al fin necesitamos a alguien que mete gol.
We prepare for all the games that we play. We want to control the game with or without the ball. We didn't defend as we liked, but this group we are going against they have a really good defense. We also need more movement up front. We just need to get more in front of the goal.
Como último, hay partidos en los que sales a ganar, hay partidos en que sales a empatar y otras a no perder. Minnesota salió a no perder y buscar esta oportunidad de los penales, lo consiguió. Posibilidad de que tú puedas pensar eso, no es un secreto que hay que plantear partidos de acuerdo a tus posibilidades. Ahora la de Real Soleil tiene la presión de ir a sacar este resultado y Minnesota también de ganarla. ¿Hay esa posibilidad de ir a jugar también, a no arriesgar y perderla?
During the playoffs, is there a risk that you will be facing with this game coming forward?
No, para mí siempre nos preparamos para ganar el partido. En este caso no tenemos otra opción. O sea, necesitamos ser más agresivos en frente del arco, necesitamos tomar más riesgo en frente del arco y tenemos que preparar como siempre, a ganar el partido. Y hay unos detalles que necesitamos en la parte ofensiva, que van a ser muy clave para tener chance de ganar el partido. Pero como decís vos, yo creo que siempre es difícil en el fútbol cuando un equipo sale a empatar el partido. Pero lo hicieron y ahora nosotros tenemos la responsabilidad de salir a jugar contra Minnesota en Minnesota a sacar el triunfo.
We don't have another option. We need to be more aggressive in front of the goal. There is a detail in offense. We need to make that goal to happen. It is hard when we tie in soccer, but it happens. I'm just looking forward for the next game against Minnesota.
Pablo, Isai Malera para Incision Deportes. Quería preguntarte algo que considero que es muy importante para muchos de los aficionados del RSL Lake. ¿Has hablado tú con Chicho con respecto a su actualidad, que no ha podido meter goles últimamente? ¿Cómo está él física, mentalmente? ¿Qué es lo que él te ha compartido sobre sus pensamientos y qué es lo que tú has hablado también con él?
Have you talked with Chicho over his performance mentally and physically?
Sí, yo creo que el Chicho está pasando un tiempo muy difícil, especialmente para un delantero que está acostumbrado a hacer muchos goles. Ya van varios meses donde no ha encontrado el gol. Y para mí, la confianza que le da a un entrenador es siempre poniendo al jugador en la cancha. Eso le da la oportunidad de marcar y le da confianza. Y yo creo que ha venido haciendo muy buen trabajo en los entrenamientos. Y lo único que le falta es meter gol en un partido, así. Pero es la vida de un futbolista. A veces sí, a veces no, pero tiene una buena mentalidad y ojalá en el próximo partido encuentre el gol.
Chicho has been having a hard time, especially since he has made a lot of goals at the beginning of the season, and recently hasn't made one, but he does think he's been doing a great job in training. He's just missing a goal during the game.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Zach McMahon coming up shortly. Thanks, Pablo.
Tough one, Zach, especially, obviously you put it all out there tonight, 7 saves, another one in the shootout. From your perspective, I guess, what was going well for you tonight and what fell short for the team?
I think as a group, we played really well. They had a really good game plan of staying in that low block, and no matter kind of what you do, it's hard to break down. And I think we had a couple of chances to get a goal, and unfortunately came up short. And I think it can be frustrating for the group to find open spaces in such a low block, but we gave ourselves a really good chance to win this game, and obviously fell short in PKs.
And then talking about the shootout, what's that like, I guess, with this kind of new format, to have to just go straight to penalties and potentially, you have possibly two more games and more penalties possibly in the future. What's that like to just have so many PKs, I guess?
It's not fun. I think this is my third or fourth PK shootout loss since I've been here. It is what it is, but hopefully we can go to Minnesota and win a regular time and bring it back here.
Hey, Zach, strong performance. What was the conversation with the referee after the first pen?
I just felt like he almost came to a stop, and he said if that's the last step that he does take a stop, then he would have to redo it. And he agreed it's a bad rule that they can stutter like that, and it's not just him. Players all around the world do it, and it's just a tough situation for all goalkeepers to deal with.
Okay. And thank you. And how are you adjusting with another defensive line in front of you, knowing that going into Minnesota, it's probably going to be different again?
Yeah, whoever's playing in front of me, like I said yesterday, my job is to give them as much information and help them as much as possible. And I thought the back four did a great job defending, playing out, and really keeping Yeboah, relatively under control. So whoever plays on Saturday, we're ready, and hopefully we can hold them to another shutout.
Thank you.
It was different in the first and so David James, KUTV, and 97.5 The Zone. It was different first half and second half. They were much more willing to go forward in the second half. The way you were playing, the way you were building out, did that change because they were threatening? Whereas in the first half, it seemed like whatever chances you took, it didn't look like they were really trying to punish anything.
Yeah, I think they were a little bit more aggressive, especially when the subs came on. They kind of switched to 2 number 9s instead of 1, which just kind of changes their press a bit. And I stayed a little bit higher just to be another option for the center backs to play through. And I thought we did a good job of controlling the game. Like I said earlier, it's just hard to find spaces when they clog the middle so much.
Do you think, given the fact that they got the result tonight and that they're unbeaten in the last 7, will they change the way they play at home? Because not a lot of teams play like that at home, but maybe this is an unusual situation.
I would expect them to play the same way. From the games I've scouted them on, it's been like that in the last few games. So it worked for them tonight. I would imagine they're going to fine-tune it a little bit, but we're going to probably see a lot of the same on Saturday.
Spanish? Anyone from Zoom? Anybody else?
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.